City away, I think fair to suggest that this is one of those games you bring at the start of the season and say, well, this is a big game for us.
Do you know, I was just, before you come into the press conference, you're saying, you probably asked that question. It's a big game every week. From the day we started, from Chelsea away to our first home game, they're all big games. But certainly Cardiff will be looking like ourselves to say, if we're going to stay in the league, a result against one of the teams that are in and around you is obviously huge. So if we can go down there and get a result, then it would be terrific for us, because then we'd obviously open up a big gap. And with 10, 11 games to play, it's another game gone off the fixture list, and it would be wonderful if we can get to the 30 points mark. It would be terrific.
Yeah, when you talk in terms of the league table, you've got 27 points at the moment. Cardiff there on 22, 3 points at this stage of the season.
Huge.
Makes a huge difference.
It's a huge difference, and if we can open up a gap, between ourselves and Cardiff, with 11 games to play, and 9 points, because your goal difference, 9 points difference is a huge margin. So all to play for, and the tickly bit is around the corner, as we keep saying. We've had a terrific season so far. We've now got to see it through. We've got a big week ahead of us. The aim is, can we get to 30 points? Can we get to a quarter-final of the FA Cup? And still all to play for with 10, 11 games left.
I've heard it sort of muted this week around the city. Which game's more important? The replay against Brighton with a quarter-final place beckoning on the Premier League. I'd imagine, without putting words into your mouth, you'd suggest it's the Premier League, isn't it?
Well, of course, the Premier League is the most important thing, but I know for a fact that if you're edging towards a date at Wembley, whether it's a semi-final or a final, then that would be terrific too. We're not exactly steeped in history and tradition of going to FA Cup finals and FA Cup semi-finals, so it would be terrific for everybody concerned. So why can't we mount a challenge on two? We've seen it before. I've seen all this nonsense that fixture pile-ups and all the rest of it. It's a game of football, and if you're getting to this stage and you've got to replay to get into the quarter-final of the Cup and a home game in the quarter-final, then all to play for. Why not? Can we mount a challenge on both fronts?
Well, let's talk a little bit about that, because very often you hear managers trot out this line about fixture congestion. It makes a mockery of the season.
Well, it's not easy playing on a Monday. I think that's ridiculous. Asking both teams, one's a Cardiff, we're Cardiff and has to play again on the Monday. I can't understand why, a game on the Tuesday. But then I think that's a UEFA ruling that nobody's allowed to play, although there's been games this week. So it really baffles me at certain times. It's not a great situation for both clubs that you have to play Saturday and a Monday. Why we can't play on a Tuesday or a Wednesday is beyond me. But as I said, it's a UEFA ruling. But we've had games this week, so I can't quite understand that.
Does it create a dilemma for you as manager in terms of team selection, or are you quite confident that the same 11 players can quite possibly go?
Well, they can. I mean, a football player can play every day, no problem. They can't play with the same intensity. It's like asking an athlete to run a race and then the day after asking them to do it at the same time. It won't happen. But the one thing you've got to guard against, or we all worry about, is if you play games, then you do pick up injuries. You do very rarely get injuries in training. Most of them are taking part in games. And that's the thing you worry about, if you put your big team out or your first 11 and you lose 2 or 3 for the run-in, then of course it can have huge problem. It can create huge problems for you, as we've seen with even the big teams. You take 2 or 3 players out of the team, and they're weakened. You look at Big Sam; he's got all his team back fit, and what a difference that they've made. With West Ham winning 3 games on the trot. So we understand that part, but when you get to this stage and you've got quarter-final and you've got a home draw in the quarter-final, then you've got to take it seriously.
Obviously, Cardiff have got Ole Gunnar Solskjaer now as the manager. He's had a month or so to settle in. What have you made of it?
Well, he's done a terrific job in Norway, and for every job that seemed to be going around, Ollie was seemed to link him with them. So I think it was inevitable that he was going to have a crack in England. It was whether which one he was going to pick, obviously, and he's got the chance at Cardiff. It's quite refreshing to see a young manager, Ollie, who we all remember playing, and it's great to see that he's gone on the other side of it, because so often I've said to you, or you guys in the past, that if we're not careful, we're not going to have the up and coming young manager coming through. So after tomorrow, I wish him the best of luck, because it is a huge job he's taken on. We're 2 years into management and then getting a Premier League job. It's a big challenge for him, but he's handled big challenges all his career and always done okay. And he's a great lad, Ollie, and we wish him the best of luck.
Just finally from me, I saw something in one of the papers earlier this week, Sonny Aluko saying that perhaps he'd like to play for Nigeria in the World Cup. He's obviously had problems with injury this season.
Yeah.
Do you think he can be at that standard where he can do himself justice?
Well, I think the big thing for Shawnee now, with 12, 13 games to play, is can he get himself in some sort of fitness in condition that he can handle playing from now to the end of the season. I've got no doubt in his ability that he could handle playing for Nigeria in the World Cup, and he'd grace the World Cup, in my opinion, because of his talent. The big thing for all of us and Shawnee is, can he stay injury free? He's had an awful year. He's back now. He's played 90 minutes against Brighton. We'll see how he is today, and the one thing we're going to have to do is just monitor him. And he's going to go have weeks where he feels good and not weeks where he doesn't feel so good. So we'll have to see how Shawnee reacts to it all. But certainly, if he's fit and he stays healthy, then I've got no problem that he could make a challenge to go to the World Cup. Why not?
Steve, how do you think your team's playing at the moment, given you struggled against Championship Brighton and obviously the defeat here?
Well, I don't think a struggle at Brighton in the Cup. I don't think it was a struggle. We hit the bar twice. We had various opportunities later on in the game. It's what throws at you. It's all about now is get results, and we stuck at it at Brighton. We probably weren't at our best, but whoever's going to go to Brighton, as they've proved over the last few years, a lot of teams have found it difficult. It was a difficult cup tie. The last time we were on the road at Sunderland, even though they had 10 men, we played very, very well. In between it all, we played Southampton, who I've always said are a really, really good side, and we had a difficult afternoon. We've had a difficult month in January, but I hope now we're through it, and we can pick up a few more victories, which would be terrific. Can we be in the quarter-final of the Cup and get 30 points by Saturday? Or by Monday, sorry. That would be a terrific boost for us all.
Now, clearly you've changed your side quite a lot since the day you drew with Cardiff here to get promotion. What about them? I mean, we know about Mulkey and...
Well, they've changed. They've changed manager for a start. They must have added 12, 15 players to the squad, so I would suggest that both teams are pretty unrecognisable from the teams that played that final day. But I think that's what the Premier League is. It evolves, doesn't it? And they did a lot of work early on, Cardiff, because they were promoted really. They were promoted weeks and weeks ahead of everybody else. So they've invested a lot of money and they've changed their manager. And the three clubs ourselves, Crystal Palace and Cardiff, are all making a fist of it. Nobody gave us a chance at the start. We're all making a fist of it. We've all got all to play for. So it turns into a big game tomorrow.
Are you excited about the challenge for the next 12 games?
Excited? I don't get excited very often. It's a challenge, and our aim is to make sure we're here. And as I said, since we kicked off Chelsea 7 months ago, we've talked about big games ever since. And tomorrow's another one. And as I said, by Monday, can we be in the quarter-final of the Cup and get to 30 points with 11 games to go? It would be a terrific boost for everybody, and that would help. If the word pressure comes into off, that would help us a little bit, but that's what we've got to try and aim for.
And with regard to your team and your injuries, the ones that seem to be close, Chester and Rossinho.
Yeah,
there's a question about Brady and people like that.
Yeah, Brady's a struggle. He's got a new groin injury, something which has been plaguing him now for the best part of the season. He sees another specialist next week. I have to say it's not looking great for Robbie because it's been ongoing now for a while. Chester and Rossinho will both be involved tomorrow, as long as they come through. They've both trained yesterday well. They've trained well all week. They will both be involved tomorrow.
Did you have any connection with Solskjaer at Manchester United? Was there a crossover at all?
No, I didn't. I I cheered him though when he scored the goal in the '99 Cup final. That was the only connection I've got with him. I jumped off my seat like millions others did. No, I haven't. No.
For
No.
those that you still are in touch with at Old Trafford, did they see him as a manager when he was coming through? Was it always in the past?
I really never asked the question. I think it's quite refreshing that somebody who had such a glittering career like he had, that is gone to back to Norway, learn the job, and stay in it. I've said so often now that if we're not careful of what's happening to young managers in particular, and managers in the lower divisions, and even the Premier League this year, if we keep going to sack, then if we keep going to sack them and they're not going to get a chance, it's so difficult now to get a job with the qualifications you need. And I don't think we do enough to encourage somebody like Ole Gunnar to stay in it and find the new up-and-coming young boss. And I wish Ole the best of luck, because it's quite refreshing to see somebody who's had his glittering playing career go into the other side. And I hope that encourages a few more to do that as well. Thank you.
Steve, do the 3 players call up to the Republic Fairness squad yesterday? What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm delighted. I know we've got 5? We've got 5 lads, is it? We've got 5. You're hoping that the whole 5 would get called up, but certainly McShane, with his injuries, obviously out for the season, and we wish him the best of luck. We've got a nucleus of, as I said, 4 or 5 Irish lads, and they're all terrific in their own way, and I wish them the best of luck when they get called up. If they come back injured, though, that is a problem.
One of them was Steve Quinn. He hasn't been called up in a while. How do you think
Well, Steve, for the first time in his career, had picked up an injury in pre-season, and it's been a frustrating time for him. A bit like Brady too, that season hasn't really got off and running because of injury to them. Steve's got to stay with it. He's proved with us what a good little player he is, and hope that when the championships come around again and the big games come around again, then he's got to try and get himself in contention.
I think he'd be capable of making a step up?
I don't think there's any question. I think he already has done that. I think what he needs to do is, he'll say he needs to play regular, and that's the challenge to him too. He's had a frustrating start, and of course he needs to play regular, which he's always telling me. And once he gets his chance, he'll have to take it, and hopefully that'll be good enough to push him onto the international stage as well.
Finally, Rob Keane was left out, so he'll be relying on Shane Long to step up. Do you think he'll be capable of that as well?
Well, I think for years now Shane's been there or thereabouts, isn't he? And Robbie Keane's been a wonderful, wonderful player over the years, and I'm sure he's still got a bit to offer. But Shane Long seems to be the obvious answer, and again, I hope he doesn't come back injured.